warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Hishain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Economic revival can be expected in this year, says Central Bank Governor. Finding faults in Prime Minister's effort to have a 3-year moratorium for existing debts from India is unacceptable, says State Minister. News in detail. Central Bank Governor Professor W.T. Lakshman says domestic economic activities in Sri Lanka remained stagnant in the fourth quarter of last year, but revitalization in economic activity sustained by appropriate fiscal and monetary measures is anticipated this year. Speaking at Ceylon Chamber's annual Economic Outlook Forum for 2020, Professor Lakshman also added that the global growth projections are revised downwards due to weakening growth in emerging market economies and spread of coronavirus.
Global growth projections were revised downwards in the January 2020 update. According to available estimates, domestic economic activity in Sri Lanka has remained subdued in the fourth quarter of 2019, but in 2020, a revival in economic activity is anticipated, supported by appropriate fiscal and monetary measures, and importantly, improved business confidence and a stronger sense of political stability among the people in general and business community in particular. Low and stable inflation environment, exchange rate stability at competitive level, low lending rates as well as improved consumer and investor sentiment are likely to push the economy to reach its capacity levels over the medium term.
Sharing his expertise on the subject, Professor W.D. Lakshman also brought forward the major components of the ongoing policy reform. He explained how the measures and incentives taken by the government help to build up a strong domestic entrepreneurial class.
A major component of the ongoing policy reform, in my reading, is the dependence placed on a coalition of 3 known forms of capital in accumulation and growth: domestic private capital, domestic state capital, and foreign private capital. Many are the incentives provided by the government to promote domestic private capital: fiscal and monetary financial incentives, trade policy related incentives, and so on. The dependence placed on the SME sector and incentives provided to the SMEs indicate the government intention to build up a strong domestic entrepreneurial class through SMEs. Growth incentives being provided to domestic private capital, if effectively used, should build up the desired domestic entrepreneurial class, as I sometimes call it, a strong national bourgeoisie.
Information and Communication Technology State Minister Lakshman Abewardena says that finding faults in the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's effort to have a 3-year moratorium for existing debts from India is completely wrong. Addressing a media briefing at the ministry premises, Minister Abewardena said that Prime Minister Rajapaksa made that request on behalf of all citizens of the country. Information and Communication Technology State Minister Lakshman Abewardena told the media that every government which came into power went for foreign loans, but the period 2015 to 2019 recorded a very bad way of going for loans from foreign countries. He said that foreign loans amount of 7,400 billion rupees was drastically increased to 14,000 billion rupees during that period. He also added that Sri Lanka must settle a premium of 480 billion rupees during this year and the government needs to settle it without putting any burden on the general public. State Minister Abewardena also highlighted that one of the main intentions of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's 5-day visit to India was seeking some concession on the issue. Minister explained that the government's plan was to take a concession period from India and seek the same concession from China too. During that period, government must increase export revenue and assuring a strong economy to settle the foreign debt, State Minister Abewardena told the media. He added that it is very unfair and wrong to find faults in the effort and incumbent government was disappointed on the behavior of UNP parliamentarians. Moreover, Information and Communication Technology State Minister Lakshman Abewardena says that the government's mechanism of purchasing paddy directly from the farmers have already become successful. State Minister for Information and Communication Technology Lakshman Abewardena said that the government introduced a certified price for paddy during the 2019 to 2020 period. Accordingly, the government, with the assistance of Sri Lanka Army, is purchasing 1 kilo of dried paddy at a certified price of 50 rupees and wet paddy at the rate of 44 rupees. Minister told the media, showing the success of the program, private paddy traders in Monragala and Ampara districts are purchasing the paddy at the rate of 53 rupees to 56 rupees per kilo. Further, State Minister Abewardena said that the government has also made a decision to give a concessionary loan to the small and medium-scale mill owners who are ready to dry up the wet paddy soon and put it into the market. Minister also pointed out that the decision was taken making some amendments to the existing rules and regulations which are related to the facilitation on closed-down business entities. He also said if anyone who finds any irregularities in the process can inform the Presidential Secretariat for immediate action. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. It was revealed in Parliament last week that 2.8 billion rupees had been spent to purchase vehicles for ministers, state ministers and deputy ministers from 2015 to the end of last government. Addressing a media briefing today morning, State Minister of International Cooperation Susil Premajayantha blamed the former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the financial mismanagement on the purchase of aforementioned vehicles, since he was the one who led the Economic Affairs Committee at that time.
දැන් මේ වෙනකොට මම දැක්කා පසුගිය සතියේ ප්‍රශ්නයකට පිළිතුරක් හැටියට වාහන මිලදීම් ගැන. මේ
Dialogue on the vehicle purchase is making rounds these days as it was brought in the parliament last week. We saw that the highest number of vehicles was purchased for the former president and former prime minister's offices. If the vehicles are old or can't be used, we purchase new vehicles for the relevant ministries. But the treasurer should give the approval to purchase vehicles after examining the requirement. During the previous government, these relevant decisions were taken by the Economic Affairs Committee, and it was headed by then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Later we saw that a ministerial secretary made a revelation on the lease of the vehicles brought under the former government. However, our President Gotabaya Rajapaksa directed the officials to suspend the purchase of new vehicles for ministries and institutes under ministries. Former government had to take these decisions, but they didn't.
The Epidemiology Unit says that 11,352 dengue cases were reported as of February 10th this year, which is about double that was reported during the same period in 2019. Epidemiology Unit sources also said that 2 deaths have been reported from across the country by February 7th. Sri Lankan health authorities continue to report high levels of dengue fever into early 2020. Thus, the most dengue cases were reported in Colombo, accounting to 1,775, Trincomalee accounting to 1,521 dengue cases, while Jaffna and Batticaloa accounting to 1,182 and 1,140 respectively. Health officials say the public should be vigilant on mosquito breeding sites and take steps to destroy them on a regular basis, and they further say that at least 30 minutes per week should be allocated to clean mosquito breeding sites. Medical experts and consultants have advised pregnant women suffering from fever to get admitted to a hospital on the first day, and the public to seek medical treatment for any type of fever without delay. Commemorating the 72nd Independence Day of Sri Lanka under the theme A Secure Nation, a Prosperous Country, and keeping in line with the National Tree Planting Program, the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Bangkok joined in planting several indoor and medicinal plants at the ceremony, appreciating the universal value of the program, particularly for the future generations. Meanwhile, many other Sri Lankan embassies celebrated the day with grandeur. Accordingly, children representing all ethnicities, supported by the Ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Kingdom of Thailand, Samantha K. Jayasuriya, potted several plants which were later gifted to the children by the Ambassador and the Presidents of the Thai Sri Lanka Chamber and the Sri Lanka Association, and this was a significant part of the 72nd Independence Day celebrations by the Sri Lanka Embassy in Bangkok. Subsequently, the High Commission of Sri Lanka to Seychelles celebrated the 72nd Independence Day of Sri Lanka at the official residence in Makabe on 4th February with the participation of religious leaders, dignitaries of the Seychelles institutions and Sri Lankans living in Seychelles. Charge d'Affaires Tharusha Gunatilaka hoisted the national flag commencing the celebration of the Independence Day amidst the sound of Magulbera, where all the participants joined in singing the national anthem. Following lighting of the traditional oil lamp by Gunatilaka together with the ambassador of the Sovereign Military Hospitaller Order of St. John of Jerusalem, of Rhodes and of Malta, Alessandra Aziz Tatishev and dignitaries, a 2-minute silence was observed in commemorating the national war heroes and those who sacrificed their lives for the peace, independence and sovereignty of the motherland during the past period. On the other hand, Sri Lankan community in Russia gathered at the embassy's premises to celebrate the independence on February 4th. Charge d'Affaires Mohammed Anas hoisted the national flag and the gathering sang the national anthem, and over 150 Sri Lankans came together to celebrate the day, including students from the different Russian universities, community members, the embassy staff and many others, along with Honorary Council of Sri Lanka in Kursk and Dr. Mohammed Kahin and Honorary Council of Sri Lanka in Armenia, Sargis Travadane. Stay tuned for stock updates. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 34.69 points to close at 5,899.06 and the S&P SL20 dropped 22.21 points to close at 2,801.85. The turnover was 573 million rupees and over 13 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. We'll be signing out for today. Don't forget to send us your views and comments via email address and our hotline. And log into our Facebook page to be alert on the latest updates. Join us tomorrow with State of Business. Until then, take care. Good night.